Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today we're going to be talking about whether Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 and 2, gotta get the title right, are worth spending your money on. Don't think of this as an official review, because this is just sort of my feelings and opinions, and I have been consulting with other people, and it doesn't really fit. Just don't think of this as a review, okay? We're going to be looking at them separately, so Collection 1 and Collection 2 as two separate games, although I am well aware that when you buy the retail one, you get both of them sort of together. One of them's on the cartridge and the other one you download, because Capcom hates you. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling. Let's dive right into things. Okay, so Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1. I'm not going to beat around the bush. This is definitely worth your $20. Is it $20 or 25? It's 20 quid in the UK. So for $20, you get the four first Mega Man X games: Mega Man X, Mega Man X2, Mega Man X3, and Mario's early year, and Mega Man X4. I think personally the one that I enjoyed the most was Mega Man X2. It was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Well, then again, X1 did have its charms as well. It's between X1 and X2, I can't decide. They're both just really beautifully refined Mega Man games with the obviously new and interesting X mechanics that help to really spice things up a bit. X3 is probably the weakest because it's got some weird ideas. I mean, sort of fair play at trying to do something new, and some of it worked and some of it didn't. It was great that you could play as X for the first time. I meant Zero. It was great that you could play as Zero for the first time, but it was a weird inclusion. Like, if he died once, you couldn't bring him back, and that's just weird. Why did they decide that? I want to play as Zero. But it's still a fun game. It's certainly not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, and I still really enjoyed it. X4 took the leap up to 32-bit on the PlayStation, which is kind of weird to be playing on the Switch, but even so, what are you gonna do? This game does look absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's a 2D game on the PlayStation, so it's bound to look incredible, especially for the time and with all the, really talented artists behind it. The leap from 3 to 4 visually is astonishing, and it's just, I just want to eat it up. Gameplay-wise, it's good as well. I wouldn't say it was as good as the first two, as I've probably made bleeding obvious, but I still really liked it. It's better than 3, but overall, yeah, I'd say if I had to rank them, it would go, I'm gonna put 2 first. I reckon 2 is the best, then it's 1, then 4, then 3. Which is not confusing at all. Thanks, numbers. But that's not all you get in the Legacy Collection. No, there's loads of other stuff that they've thrown in as well, and it's pretty bloody good, to be honest. There's the new Rookie Hunter mode, which I played very briefly, but I found to be a little bit too easy. Basically, it's like an easy mode, and it just takes the edge off the difficulty, but it's still good. It's a really good inclusion for people coming into it fresh, and they don't, sort of get immediately thrown off, because some of the X games really are quite troublesome. There's also the gallery mode, or is it museum? I can't remember. It's basically just a load of extra stuff, artwork, that kind of thing. And it's nothing out of this world, but it's nice to be there, and it just sort of adds a little bit more weight to the purchase, rather than just getting the games as they are. There's just a little bit extra, a little bit bonus, something a little bit tasty. It's good. And then we've got the X Challenge mode, which is like a boss rush, but so much more. Basically, you're thrown into a random boss fight, but it's not just against one boss, it's against 2 bosses at the same time. I love this. I think it's really challenging. You're very limited on what you can actually have to power up X. It's just great. I really enjoy it, and it's a brilliant way to introduce something new gameplay-wise in such an old series of games. Really good. So in case that wasn't obvious enough, and the fact that I said it right at the beginning, yes, this is definitely worth your $20. It is absolutely worth every penny of that. It's brilliant. It's a great selection of games with extra stuff thrown in as well. What more could you ask for? Maybe something. All right, that was the easy one. What about the other one? You know what I'm talking about. Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2. Well, let's go through it one by one, shall we, before I reach a conclusion. This collection unsurprisingly contains Mega Man X5, Mega Man X6, Mega Man X something, and Mega Man X8. X5 is pretty good, it's a decent Mega Man X game, it's nothing to write home about, but it's enjoyable enough, it just it feels like they're starting to run out of ideas a little bit. It's, I don't know, it just feels a little bit stale. It's still enjoyable, but it's just not as good as the others. X6 is even worse than X5. Not to say X5 is bad, and I wouldn't even say X6 was a bad game. I'd just say it's a very mediocre game. It's, I believe, the first game to not have Keiji Inafune at the helm, and or at least his involvement at all, and it shows. It's just sort of by the numbers, obvious, easy, fairly safe. They don't seem to really be trying to do anything interesting with it. It's just, and also there's too much text. Though you could say that about a lot of the X games. X8 isn't brilliant either. I mean, I think it's certainly the best one on the collection, but it's just, I don't know, it just seems to lack the charm, the sort of the simple charm of the originals, and I think that comes down to the graphics. I mean, gameplay-wise, I'd say maybe as good as 3, maybe? But no, it's not quite as good as 3. I mean, it's the 8th entry in the mainline series, you know, they're just bound to be running out of ideas. And that sort of comes across. Of course, this also includes all the features of the first collection, you know, you got the museum stroke gallery, whatever it's called, and you've also got the X challenge, and you've got rookie hunter mode, which is, you know, all good inclusions, you know, no arguments about that. But I believe I've missed something out, and that's because I've been saving it for last, because I've been looking forward to talking about this. In case you didn't know, Megaman X7 is a complete pile of hot sick. Like every other franchise in the world at the time, they tried to make the leap from 2D to 3D. And it's not a Mario 64, if you know what I mean. This game basically combines the 2D gameplay, which everyone knows, sort of, and then tries to include 3D gameplay as well. And how do you do 3D gameplay on a limited system like the PlayStation when stuff like, you know, twin-stick aiming really hasn't been properly honed in and properly developed? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna do first person maybe or something like that? No, you're gonna do third person, but kind of looking down at the back of their head, because that's useful and good for platforming. But how do you aim in order to shoot and destroy enemies? Well, that's easy. You don't. You just mash the button and the game aims for you. I'm not making this up. You really can just run through levels just mashing the button. That's not Mega Man! That's not even close to being Mega Man. It's not even meh. You also spend a lot of the game playing as a character called Axel, who, frankly, can get caught up in an Axel. I don't know, I mean, he's a very easy character to hate. Even the design really irks me. I mean, again, you know, sort of fair play for trying to do something new and trying to do the leap to 3D. So, you know, well done for trying to do something different, Capcom, but oh my giddy arse, you got everything wrong. And you know what? It's a little bit glorious. It's just a little bit glorious just how much of a mess this game is. But don't think this is one of those so bad it's good kind of games. I mean, it certainly is so bad it's good until you get to about halfway through the first cutscene, and then you realize what you're spending your time doing, and it's not a good. The cutscenes have some of the most diabolical writing I've ever seen, but even worse and even more prevalent is the voice acting. And I'm not gonna say a word about it, I'm just gonna show you. I think that's probably best.
When we kicked that big dude's butt, I thought, yeah!
Nice work, Zero.
Out of the way! Out of the way! Are you stupid? You're in danger if you just stand there. Get a move on!
Are you connected to this incident?
Do you realize how much damage your internal bickering has caused?
Now you just sit tight, my boy.
This kind of terribleness could potentially be good if these cutscenes didn't go on forever. And it's not like they're even saying anything interesting, they're just explaining everything in the most overly dramatic and yet at the same time, due to the voice acting, the least dramatic way possible. And it goes on and on and on, and it just feels like it's never gonna stop. It feels like you're being punished for finishing a level. A bad level. So is Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2 worth your money? No, not even a little bit. I'd say 2 of the games were passably good, one of the games is just hideously mediocre, but one of the games is so insultingly bad, it's amazing they had the balls to re-release it. I mean, fair play to Capcom, you know, they wanted to release all the mainline Mega Man X games, and they didn't omit it, so, you know, well done for being complete. I have barely scratched the surface of what makes X7 such a terrible game, but I'm not going to say it. This video isn't about X7 alone, as much as I would love it to be. But yeah, it's bad. Just believe me when I say it's bad. Please believe me. So, in conclusion, Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 Absolutely, get hold of it. Really great game. Well, the collection of games. Absolutely fantastic. Can't really fault it. Mega Man Legacy X Collection 2. Is that right? Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2. Yeah, I think I got it right. Just stay away from it. It's rubbish. Don't buy it. It's not worth it for the, you know, sort of mild enjoyment you'll get out of a couple of the mild enjoyment you'll get out of a couple of the games, and, you know, vaguely finding Mega Man X7 ironically entertaining for about 20 minutes and then just wanting to stop everything. So in a weird way, it's actually quite good that they've split it up, although it is annoying that the physical version comes with both. So if you want to get physical, you're gonna have to spend 40 quid anyway, so yeah. Swings and roundabouts, I suppose. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you switch that subscribe button to 3D in the worst way imaginable, and be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye. Oh, that was fun. I want to do that again. I want to do a whole video on X7.